All right, everybody, welcome back. We have an exciting game coming up with the Denver Broncos and the New York Jets traveling to London where they will face off. The Jets are still looking for their first win, and I'm going to tell you about some DVOA, Pro Football Focus grades, some things we need to focus on for this game. First, let's look at turnover margin. The Jets are still -8, league worst turnover margin, so that's not good. Denver's actually at -2, so they're only 20th best. Their defense is really carrying them. Their offense is okay, but it could improve. If you look at total defense, Denver's DVOA is 14th, while the Jets is 28th. Denver is 17th best against the pass. The Jets are worst against the pass. Denver's 11th against the rush, while the Jets are 13th against the rush DVOA. So the other thing to look at, too, is how do they do against each receiver? And we'll talk about pressure, how these quarterbacks are looking as well, too. But I want to first dive into how they do against receivers. So Denver's 8th against wide receiver 1 DVOA. Sutton has actually just been average with his coverage grade, but Denver has a really great pass rush, the best pressure rate in the league, so I think that's helping them partly. Also some scheme. They're playing a lot of man coverage. They're actually playing the most man coverage in the league and have the highest pressure rate. So that defense really is becoming what a lot of us thought it would. They're getting a little healthier. All right. And so that matchup is going to be probably pretty good for Courtland Sutton if the Jets are 31st DVOA against the pass. Now, Sauce Gardner, he's grading out just average with his PFF grade, so not excellent. He's allowing touchdowns. Pickens got one on a deep one last week. Jets are pretty bad against deep passes. But overall, Gardner kind of held Pickens in check otherwise in that game, so maybe this is a sign of him playing a little better. And Broncos are also top 8 versus wide receiver 2. So whatever else the Jets have, whether it's Allen Lazard, Josh Reynolds, things of that nature, it's still going to be tough. And the Jets are bottom 7 against wide receiver 2. So Franklin is going to have some opportunities for Denver. He's been sneaky good this year. And the other thing, too, is like Garrett Wilson's excellent against man coverage this year, but he does get Sutton. I think this might be the only way the Jets can move the ball offensively or some passes to Garrett Wilson if Fields has time, which we're going to get into. Also, Breece Hall has opportunity because the one weak spot for Denver DVOA is passes to running backs, but this could just be like a volume thing. But Breece Hall would have a good matchup there, even though he's just average against man coverage, while Wilson is excellent, actually. Other than that, the Jets don't really have much going on offensively for their pass game. And running back passes to the Jets, they're 31st. And RJ Harvey is actually really good against zone in the receiving game, which the Jets utilize. So look for him to get some extra targets there. Courtland Sutton has also been excellent against zone, so look for him to have a nice game as well. And again, Denver plays 60% man defense, league leading, which is really impressive. I think that's a very tough defense to pass against if you can run it effectively. And Denver also has the 13th ranked rush defense, which is a tougher test than the Cowboys had last week in terms of Breece Hall. So that's the in terms of PFF grade. So a tougher game for Breece Hall against Dallas was like league worst PFF grade. So that's a problem because if you want to establish the run with Breece Hall, it won't be super easy. He'll be able to have some ground, but not an easy matchup. And because Hall looked really good last week. And Fields is always a threat to run too, but that's a little tougher matchup for Fields as well. And this will definitely be more challenging for the Jets. Denver, surprisingly, like Dallas, is bottom 7 in pass coverage grade, PFF. But what we did see against Dallas, Fields really couldn't move the ball until garbage time. He was under way too much pressure, which brings me to my next point. Okay. Fields is grading so poorly against pressure. it's like bottom percentage of the league. He's horrible. He's failing against pressure so far, and they're really struggling to move the ball. The Jets offensively, I think, because of that, their offensive line hasn't been great. So those are some things to look at, and also in terms of that. Bo Nix is getting rid of the ball quicker than league average at 2.59 seconds, which is good. In Fields, he's bottom tier with 3.27 seconds. That's worse than Herbert. That's worse than Jackson Dart, who we're really concerned with, right? And that's not going to cut it against the Broncos' top-rated pass rush, over 31% pressure rate. And like I said, the Jets are playing a lot of zone. And let's see here. Nix is getting rid of the ball quicker. But the funny thing is Fields is actually better than Nix when he's kept clean. He's been excellent, but he's just not been kept clean much. And Nix has been under pressure too, but he has a little bit better offensive line, like more middle of the pack. And the Jets, they're 23rd in pass blocking, which isn't great against this top pressure team. So when you look at that too, the Jets are also ranked second in the PFF coverage grade. So that's one thing to consider. And against Dallas and the Bills, teams that were top 7 in pressure rate, those are really tough days for Justin Fields. And for Nix, what helps him is the Jets are third worst in pressure. So even though Nix hasn't been good under pressure, he's just been just average when he's clean, and the Jets don't generate much pressure. So Nix isn't impressing you, but he's had time to throw, which is going to help him a lot. All right, so the next thing I want to look at here, the Jets, they're ranked 23rd in receiving grade. They pretty much only have Wilson, who's playing well. They're struggling to move the ball in the pass game. Denver has been the 7th best team at rushing in terms of Pro Football Focus grades, and they're 13th in run blocking. So even if the Jets are like middle of the pack, slightly better than average, this isn't a prohibitive matchup, especially with how Denver is rushing the ball well and blocking well. But I want to talk about some red zone opportunities too here. So Fields has 2, Breece Hall has 2 in terms of rushing in the red zone, and Garrett Wilson has 9 targets. The next closest Jet is 4. So I really think if it goes there, you're looking at like Breece Hall or Fields to run it in if it's inside the 5, or a pass to Garrett Wilson. So I think Garrett Wilson can get his typical like garbage time touchdown. He's been doing that a lot, especially even in these blowouts. He's getting a lot of targets here. He's good against man coverage. But the one thing is Denver has the top-rated red zone defense, only allowing about 27% of the time, 28% of the time teams score a touchdown. So that's going to be really tough for the Jets. And the Jets' red zone offense is only about league average, about 60%. And the same goes for the Jets when they're defending in the red zone, only about 60% league average of what they're allowing. They're not elite like Denver, only allowing 28%. And the Denver Broncos are scoring in the red zone 67% of the time, 10th. So that is not really prohibitive for the Denver offense, but it's not like an elite matchup. So I think you have to take Denver here by at least 2.5. I thought it was going to be closer, but because how bad the Jets offensive line is, how bad Fields is against pressure, how great the Broncos red zone defense has been. And Bo Nix has really just been okay. He doesn't have a prohibitive matchup with how bad the Jets pass rush has been. How Sutton's been really good against zone coverage, how Harvey can catch some passes. Harvey, Dobbins, and Nix, a little like an average rushing matchup, a little challenging, but not super hard. They should have more opportunities with the ball. I'm going with Denver here, 23-10. I did want to note too, the Jets have been allowing a top 5 rate of field goal attempts to their opponents. And so I feel like Denver's going to have a lot of opportunities here for field goals. And also Denver had been allowing more field goals to start the year at a top 5 rate, but the last 3 games, only 1.7 field goal attempts allowed. So I do think it's going to be more challenging for the Jets to have those field goal opportunities. As I think it's going to be hard for them to be inside the 35 of Denver this game. And let's see here. I also think, Dobbins can rush one in because for Denver, that whole running back committee, Dobbins has had 4 carries inside the 5, where Harvey only has 1 and Nix only has 1. And Sutton and Franklin are splitting their target share in the red zone about 8-8. So I like them both in this game. Sutton is better against zone defense. He's excellent against it. But like we said, we're still not sold on Sauce Gardner, but I think he can score definitely. But it may just be easier for Franklin as well. So I like Franklin or Sutton to catch a touchdown pass. I like Wilson to get his garbage time touchdown pass late. I'm thinking it's going to be like 23-3 Denver. Wilson maybe gets it in garbage time. Like he's been doing that lately. That happened last week too against Dallas. I think Dobbins rushes one in. I think I can see Denver getting 2 or 3 field goals here. So I'm going to go with Denver 23-10. And let me just look through my notes if there's any other cool and interesting, helpful facts that can help us for this slate. Let's see here. We talked about basically how Fields is bad against pressure. And I think until things change with that, if Fields needs to get rid of the ball quicker and the Jets need to block better, and Fields just needs to generally be under pressure. He needs to be a better passer, make better reads and decisions. But until that happens, I can only see the Jets having a chance to win a game if they're playing like a really poor pass rush. And it was pretty disappointing against Miami with the fumbles they had in that game with their low turnover margin. So, folks, we could be on the brink of a winless Jets season here. I mean, I know the Jets do have some pop offensively, but you got to look at their schedule, but it's going to be tough in their division. Maybe they could beat Miami when they play them again if they don't have all those turnovers. That's probably where I think they can get their first win, but I think it's going to be tough for the Jets to get more than 4 wins this season, if even that. So, guys, thank you. Appreciate it. And we will catch you later. Good luck, everybody.